Museum is a place where time does not matter. Looking at the artifacts, we are experiencing the most vivid and exciting moments of history. The program Secrets of Museums on Kazakh TV channel. Jambyl Jabayev was a Kazakh Akin improviser, poet, and citizen. He lived for almost 100 years. He had composed a lot of poems and songs. Among them there were odes, irony, and revelation. He left a legacy that is kept and revered by modern Kazakhstanis. Near the village of Ozenagash, 70 kilometers away from Almaty city, there is a place where the poet spent the last years of his life. This is the House Museum of Jambyl. Every visitor of the complex will have an exciting excursion, feeling coziness and tranquility. The main building of the museum is a house consisting of 12 rooms. Jambyl lived here from 1938 to 1945 of the last century. Everything here is kept as it was during the life of the poet. Cozy bedrooms, a spacious living room and dining room, a study, and even a medical room. The furniture of that era is preserved in the apartment. There are a wooden, crystal, and copper tableware. There are elegant clothes of Jambyl, such as embroidered chapan, even a saddle with silver trim, and shoes made on special order with beautiful embossing. It may seem that you are simply carried away in the middle of the last century and plunging into the daily life of the Akin. Despite everything in this museum looks elegant and rich, the life of the poet was not easy as it may seem. Up to the age of 90, Jambyl had to live in a simple yurt and experienced not only fame but poverty and hardships. The poet sang about his life since the moment of his birth. In the night at the foot of Jambyl mountain, curled up in the snow hole, my mother, cursing the life of a slave, gave a birth to me groaning in pain. Hungry people of the village gathered silently. The Kazakh people gave me the name of Jambyl. Jambyl Jabayev was born in 1846 in the headwaters of the Chu River in the family of a poor nomad. According to a family legend, his native village at that time was fleeing from the onslaught of the Kalkan hordes. But despite the hardships, Jambyl recalled his childhood as free and mischievous. He used to play games with children and celebrate holidays. It was cheerful when all the relatives visited them. The poet liked to notice in people their character traits and speak ironically over certain weaknesses. That is why he often visited the herdsmen, because they knew many legends and songs about good and evil, about valor and cunning, about bravery and cowardice. Jambyl imagined the heroes of the past epochs and dreamed of his own exploits. The granddaughter of the poet tells a family legend about how her ancestor fled from his first teacher, a cruel mullah, who was convinced that in life one should look for the most worthy mentors. Jambyl's father gave his son in a madrasa for him to receive primary education, but the mullah teacher was very cruel and did not show sympathy even for the children. Unable to withstand the corporal punishment, the 10-year-old Jambyl fled from the madrasa. Then the father said to the boy, "If you do not want to, do not study, my son. Go grazing cattle, you'll be a shepherd. It seems to be your destiny." Among the nearest ancestors of Jambyl, there were no Akhunds. He learned to play dombra from distant relatives. Soon, his abilities made him distinguished among other contemporary Akhunds. When Jambyl was a 15-year-old boy, something happened to him that usually happens to all young men at this age. In the neighboring village, he met a girl, with the eyes of a steppe antelope, with a face whiter than the moon, he later recalled. Jambyl was very impressed with the beautiful girl and her cheerful nature. The beautiful girl did not pay attention to the young Akhund until he began to compose verses to her. She was impressed by the poems of Jambyl. A beautiful girl changed her opinion about him and began to take signs of attention. The girl's father noticed their glances. Since this marriage was not part of his plans, and to avoid rumors, he strictly forbade them to see one another. At parting, the beautiful girl said to Jambyl, "One day, when you become a famous and respected person, come to my father. Maybe he would be kinder to you and bless our couple." Of course, the girl's naive dreams of engaging herself with a poor Akhund did not come true. But Jambyl remembered these words to the end of his life, and he wrote every new poem with thoughts of that girl, who wished with all her heart to become a famous poet. Jambyl began to visit villages and sing his poems, as well as perform songs of other poets, until an important event happened that changed his destiny. The young poet met a famous Akhund, the winner of many itis contests and the master of the word. It was Suinbai Aronuli. It was under his patronage that Jambyl began to improve his skills, the sense of rhythm, and accuracy of words. When Suinbai first heard Jambyl's verses, he asked if his words were coming from his heart. Jambyl replied that he did not know where from, either from the heart or from the larynx, or maybe just from the stomach. After that, Suinbai asked the young man not to treat this question ironically. If your words are born in the very depths of your soul, then they will fly faster than the wind, will be stronger than a wild storm, and hotter than the sun. And if they are born just from the larynx, then this engagement will soon become boring for you, since there will be neither use for it nor love of the people. Why do I need the love of the people if there is not the love of the one that is dearer to me in the world? The young man said in response. Soon-bai was surprised. But you're young, but you already know the feeling that hurts more painfully than arrows or spears. Tell me about it. Jambyl told him about his love and that he should gain the recognition of the girl's father to achieve his blessing. Soon-bai smiled and said, "Look at the sky. Do you see her face there? If you see, then write a song about it. Look at the grass. Do you hear her whisper in every sigh of the wind? If so, then sing about it." Jambyl returned the next day and began singing his poems. But only, instead of the song about the wind, he sang about a mercantile father of the girl because he had married his daughter to a rich man. Jambyl sang about impossibility of the people to unite their hearts for love, as they are prevented by prejudices and a desire to multiply their wealth. He began to sing about the injustice in this world, where not the love but the thirst for power reigns. Soon-bai listened to these songs and said, "I thought you were just a boy in love, like all those whose songs end in the years of adulthood, but you are a real Akin. If you can get to the bottom of reality, and you have your own ideas and the truth, you notice the weaknesses of the hearts, and you are willing to change the order of the world. Do not let a spark of inspiration in you fade. Then people will love you, and your words will always be in demand." Soon-bai asked his elder wife to put a chapan on the shoulders of the boy as a symbol of respect and blessing. But Jambyl immediately took off the chapan and again put it back on Soon-bai's shoulders with the words, "I came to you for a wise word." Jambyl had been telling Soon-bai's blessing through all his life. He remembered why he lived on earth and why poets are born here. The Akin praised the feats of Batars in the fight against the enemies, the valor of the courageous people, and the grandeur of the native land. In 1938, Jambyl Jabayev, who was an honored poet and distinguished artist, moved to a beautiful house with a large family where he was taken care of. He continued to work and meet with prominent public figures of that time. Being translated in Russian, the works of Jambyl became known abroad. His works were published in China, Czechoslovakia, England, and other countries. Mikhail Sholokhov, as well as writers from France, Australia, and Denmark such as Romain Rolland, Catherine Pritchard, Martin Nexo, and others, sent congratulations to the poet on his 75th birthday. When the Great Patriotic War began, Jambyl's son, Algadai, volunteered for the front. He died in the battlefield. This loss left an incurable wound on the heart of the elder. Learning about the siege of Leningrad and the suffering of hundreds of thousands of starving civilians, the Akin made his contribution. His poem, "Leningrad People, My Children," became a real revelation for the people of the whole country. Leningrad people, my children. Leningrad people, my pride. I see in the steppe stream the flow of the Neva River. If I glance along the snow ridges, I see the arches of your bridges. I see the dawn at the blue sea. I see the lanterns in the night trees. and the houses with golden roofs. Leningrad people, my children. Leningrad people, my pride. This poem caused a big patriotic surge and made people believe in the victory over the enemy. In the study of the House Museum, it is possible to imagine the hard work of the literary secretaries of the poets such as Tair Zharakov, Gali Ormanov, and the translator Mark Terlovsky. After all, Jambyl himself didn't study writing. The old poet liked to communicate with people personally, despite having a separate phone in his house. The poet even had a luxury thing for that time, a personal car. It is still kept in the garage of the house. The M1 car was the first Soviet car produced massively. The car looks impressive and raises interest among connoisseurs of retro. In one of the rooms, there is a precious exhibit, Jambyl's personal dombra, a truly legendary instrument. On the walls, you can see pictures of various artists. Here's a picture called Jambyl with fellow village residents by the artist Abilkhan Kasteyev. The picture was painted in 1962. The memory of the poet is still alive not only in his native land, but also abroad. It is proved by the poster inviting to a concert in Moscow dedicated to his 100th birth anniversary. Samuel Marshak, Arseny Tarkovsky, and other famous figures performed at the concert. Here's the poster of the Kazakh film about Jambyl, where the legendary actor and director Shakyan Aymanov played the main character. Another interesting exhibit is the Medal for the Defense of Leningrad, awarded posthumously. On the territory of the complex, there is a mausoleum built over the grave of the poet. The octagonal structure, 10 meters high, coated with marble slabs, was built in 1946. Opening the cast iron doors, visitors pass inside the mausoleum, where they can honor the memory of the great Akhund. There are two giant poplars that grew during the life of the poet. This is all that remained of the poplar alley. Now along the paths leading to the mausoleum, there are plates with quotes from Jambyl's works. During the walk, people can think about the eternal and indestructible things and just enjoy the well-tended view of the complex and the garden that the poet has grown himself. Jambyl was not only an honest and fair man, he was an extraordinary person with an unusual character. He noticed interesting features in people, something that can not be seen with a naked eye, but he did it in a kind, wise way. Unlike us, he has never expressed his thoughts simply. He was an Akhund, after all. Therefore, he used to talk with rhymes and jokes. His small verses, which he often dedicated to friends and family, were filled with irony and humor. Jambyl Jabayev devoted his century-long life to one goal: to serve the people. He will forever remain as a distinguished master of the word and a poet of the 20th century in the memory of people.